arrived yesterday, and the rain is returned. So it's been raining a little bit every single day. And since I've been back, I'm here with my girlfriend, so still trying to get some work done, but also trying to enjoy the time. So I returned and the peas had all fallen down, as seen here. And so I stuck in these new... I gotta figure out how to... I gotta redo these. But I added these tree poles in here. And otherwise this morning, with this tool, I started digging out. I'm still looking for bigger rocks. I started separating them and further adding them in. So yeah. So Diana cleared this whole area and helped put this whole area together. And I did a little bit more up to here. So almost done with the first layer. Otherwise, I've been tearing apart this hill looking for bigger rocks. It's almost 7 on a Saturday. My girlfriend and I and Rigodas went mushroom hunting this morning. And otherwise, it's just been kind of a lazy day. But now it's about 7 o'clock. I want to make some progress on the house. So today's progress, I found all of these pieces. I tore apart this side of this hill and I created these 3 piles. This is getting ever more complicated figuring out how to separate. I have a lot of different mounds of rocks here. I was a bit disconnected yesterday in many different kinds of ways. However, towards the end of the day it started raining, so I packed up on more burning sticks. Yeah, I'm going back and forth between mosquito gear and warm gear because sometimes in the day when it's really hot the mosquitoes aren't so bad. Otherwise, I'm working on preparing this house site by awaiting the long poles that will support the walls. I'm still 100% undecided on the type of roof I will do. If it will be a gable roof, I need to figure out how to support solar panels, and I want the roof to be already aligned to the right angles for that. So I cleared this whole area. There are a lot of sticks. I brought them over here. I cut apart these 6 logs and I'm going to make supports here for the poles to have something to lean against. This is about the height that I want the poles in. I still need to figure out how I will make that, but before I can stick the poles in the ground, I will need to burn their ends. So I collected all of this from the same place and I will make a big bonfire. So by burning the edges, they will be more waterproof. It's a method called Shubanjin, something similar to that, a Japanese method of protecting wood from rot naturally without chemicals. And I just picked up a window from my neighbor that gave it away. Pretty heavy. Now and in these next few days, there's rain coming, so I want to see what happens if I plant some peas and spinach. It might be early or too late in the season still. However, I'm curious to try peas in this area where nothing's growing already. I've got spinach that grew up and bolted here. I'm curious if it even made any seeds. That's what these might be. Let's see if you plant. Interesting. So these are the seeds from the packet, which are identical to these seeds on the plant. So turns out this did give me some spinach seeds. Cool. Maybe it'll self-sow. Rain is coming again. I managed to plant some spinach and peas all over here, and I just dropped a bunch of peas also in that area. Now these peas are leaking. I'm wondering where I can dump them. Just planted some spinach in this pile as well. Where to stick these peas? No, I'm too lazy, and I don't even know if these seeds are still good. So I threw them down here, where I also threw down some random seeds like hyssop, which doesn't seem to be sprouting. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's some more seeds spent, which I feel better about, because they do expire. Here it's getting hot, and all this clothes. I'm trying to do more standing still kind of work, so I've got some celery seeds, which I'm saving. These grew in the greenhouse. I'm hoping they didn't cross with the carrots. I tried to keep that side of the greenhouse always closed. So today we went mushroom hunting with Rigo does. It's pretty rainy weather. And I found this much. He found about twice as much in the same time. However, this is enough for 2 meals, making buckwheat. Here is one of my fancier meals. I've got chanterelles, kale, canned fish, and onions, which I'm adding to chives, beets, and buckwheat. About 2 months since I planted these beans from seed, and let's see what they look like on the inside. Oh, they're forming. Nice. It's however many days since the last time, and there seems to be activity in all of these pots. So I'm going to leave them uncovered now. These are the beets I planted while Diana was here. Here I'm on my forest garden experiment spot, and I have 3 different kinds of manures I want to spread. I'm going to tear apart especially these weedy areas and just try to spread as much of it all around here wherever it may grow. I'll see which of 3 these grow best: red clover, mustard, or alfalfa. Last fall I covered this whole area with straw all over, and in some places it held out, in other places it was thinner and the plant life grew through. So I'm going around, I'm clearing patches to plant those 3 manures, and I'm noticing it's a bit easier pulling out the weeds that are growing into the straw, because last year it smothered all of the underlying plants, and a lot of the plant structure is now connected to the loose straw, and so things pull up easier. So I take it if you know you're going to have to de-weed an area and you have a year ahead of time, laying down thick layers of mulch, just loose soil that is easy to dig up with a tool, will save a lot of work instead of coming to a new place and trying to rake through hard ground. And this is a perfect example of soil that I didn't mulch, and it's a lot harder to pull apart. Oh, you gotta use force. I just went through and planted these 3 manures in some places all around the yard. Now I'm gonna go and mix them in, and then it's supposed to rain, or supposedly in the next day or 2, and they may grow. There, I just made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 random islands with these 3 manures. I'm all done, worked up a sweat. I want to see if I can plant more seeds. Oh, I had my rake. I moved the sheep's wool that was here next to the tree so that it could mulch out more of these grasses. And I guess little by little I'll try to form these. And I also made a little island for my blackberry. So here are all the seeds I'm going to plant out. Amelancher Canadensis, 2 Kaki, 1 Lonicera Caerula, if the seed's still there, some Viccinum Corymbosum, Crataegus azarolus, or Hawkthorne, Morus Nigra, blackberry, Vaccinium Vitis-Idaea, which is a grape, and 1 Acacia baileana. I just planted all of the seeds. I've got 1 here, and the rest of them are here. They're all spaced like, I don't know, 10 centimeters from each other. I'm guessing best case now they would sprout next spring. It's a pretty windy day. It's been raining on and off in the night times and in the mornings. So this morning I'm leaving to Vilnius. I got a little bit of work done. However, the wind is wreaking havoc on my pea structure. They keep falling down. Here's what I got done this morning. Yesterday, the work I did consisted of filling these sides up a bit further, here and here. So I'm waiting to get the wooden structures so that I can fill up the rest of this main area. Also, I added some more here. So I needed to make more space, so that's why I moved the rocks over there. And so I'm slowly going to dig up this area here and see if there's any bigger rocks. Basically sort through all of these things. Otherwise, I planted these peas similar time as the other ones, but they lagged behind quite a bit, so they finally caught up. They're very pretty. They're these Sweet Mammoth peas, and they should produce a different color pea. So I'm wondering if it's the variety, the reason why it took so late, or just because it was in a shadier spot. Otherwise, the corn is growing fast. It turns out these are dwarf beans. I did not know that that means that it looks like they're not growing, they're not climbers. So I don't think they will climb up the corn. Otherwise here, I've got packed some fig seeds from Spain. I want to plant them. I've been putting it off, so I'm going to make a little patch here and see if they grow. Otherwise, identify what is this leaf. Is this a grape leaf? It could be, because I stuck a bunch of my failed seeds here. Maybe they didn't fail, they just didn't germinate. So there's these two sticks here, and where I planted figs, and then one stick here where I planted a strawberry tree. So this is my best growing squash. It's growing out of the compost. It's growing better than anywhere else. And I'm hoping, oh, I wonder if I can eat this. Yeah, it's already producing fruit. I'm noticing these mushrooms growing all around my property. They're edible, but I tried cooking them and I just can't stand the texture. It's a little too gooey for me. If there was a recipe to make them with a tougher texture, I'd try that out. And here I'm visiting the backyard. I haven't been here all week, so I'm curious to see what's new. This is getting a little overgrown. Ooh, the basil needs pruning. This tomatillo is growing like a monster. I don't see any bigger fruits forming as of yet. Yeah, lots of flowers, lots of little pods. Here's an update on the fennel. They're growing okay. They still haven't exploded yet. They seem to be growing up. The anise is holding out, not too happy. Otherwise here, I've got a bunch of mulch, which I can use. I already de-weeded some of these grasses. Everything is growing great here. I've got some tomatoes I saw forming on you. I wonder if you will form this year. Last year they all froze and rot. I'm returning from Alitos today. I'm having a very easy ride. I left at around 3 o'clock afterwards, and it's not been too hot or sunny. It's almost looks rainy, but Alitos was a great escape. There were very few bugs there, which I enjoyed, but still some mosquitoes, enough to make it feel like raw and wild. And I'm coming back with some freed motivation, drive to make progress on my house. This is the Lithuanian scenery I'm going past right now. They're connecting a big, maybe gas tube to Poland. So Lithuania's changing. Less than 3 kilometers back to my home. The buckwheat is still growing. The wheat is still growing, though the rapeseed has been taken off everywhere. So close to home. This is such nice biking weather. I'm enjoying every second of this. I just got about 2 kilos of onions from my neighbor Nyola. This is a little over a euro's worth. I'm finally back, and as soon as I arrived here, the first mosquitoes just started coming on. Otherwise, home sweet home. This has been standing water, so not the best for them, because hopefully it might rain now. Back to the jungle. Oh, these are flowering beautifully. Sweet Mammoth bees. I gotta cut some weeds here. Why is there trash here? Everything seems to be alive here. The beets are growing upwards. Wow, things just sprout so easily in this time of year. Here are the golden beets. Like the only one that survived. And I want to look after my perennials grapes. Oh, you're not looking too good. What is going on with your leaves? It's like I'm finally about to have my first carrot seeds. These are close to drying out. I'll try to stick some in the ground before the end of the year. Things growing on the side that I grew the white radishes on, these seem to be getting eaten a lot more. I wonder, they just might not have as good of a survival as these already established beets, or maybe the ground is depleted. I grew the suedes here last year also, and maybe the ground is just too poor to healthily support things, although this basil is surviving well and the tomatoes are producing. It'll be to see if they don't rip and tear under this weather. Some of the green beans growing on the islands, they're not producing anything yet. This is a runner bean, and I didn't realize that these are fully edible and that I should already harvest them so that this plant produces more and more peas, because right now it's sending all of its energy into these foods, which are already fully ready to eat. I'm back at the construction site as of last week, and today I got some 5-6 meter long poles for building. They still have nails in them, but I got it from a different neighbor on the corner here, so I just had to drag it through this pathway. And next I'll have to burn their edges. In the meantime, there's some rock sorting that I can do right now. Might as well. So far, all of this work has been sorting the rocks, bringing them over by wheelbarrow, and throwing them in by hand, or dropping them in by wheelbarrow. It's a long process. So I got some work on the house done, but then it started raining, and now it's raining normally, like heavily, and it's supposed to rain a lot more today. So I don't know what more can I do. I've been writing my journal. I left it here, so I'm a week behind. So I don't know, I'm gonna go eat maybe. So I'm escaping the midday heat in the forest. I've come here to forage for mushrooms, especially these chanterelles. I've already found some, and then these are juvenabudas, which I will have to translate in English. However, let's go find some more chanterelles. One thing I've learned is that lots of mushrooms like chanterelles don't like growing in this reforesting area. They like better this kind of area, which is a lot less dense and easier to walk through. They rarely grow among bushes like these moss or among blueberry bushes. They're more likely in these open patches, especially next to oak trees. And voila, I see some chanterelles sprouting from last night's rain. These are still small ones, but these are more pickable. And it's funny because they're growing all throughout here in a line. And there's more here. This must be one giant network. Holy cow, they're like growing in a line. Here and here. How interesting. Because many of these are too small, like this one and this one, it will be better if I leave it and let it grow for another 2 days or so. And a great time saver is if you're going to cook these, it saves a lot of time to clean them up good before you put them in with the rest of them. Otherwise, cleaning them becomes a muck as you throw dirty ones in together, it just makes more cleaning for all the other mushrooms in there. I'm getting dehydrated picking them up, and so I want to go get water, but every time I stand up I see more and more large chanterelles that I can't fit all of them in here. This is a full meal's worth already in 10 minutes of finding a lucky place. Wow, there's so many here. Among these tall straight trees, there's some very beautiful ones, like this pine that makes an amazing shape. Even in nature, some trees are just way more creative, free-spirited than others. Return to rehydrate and to get my knife. Now to see if I can find my way back there. Found my way back here. Now I can harvest a lot easier with a knife. Don't have to scrape off the bottoms anymore. Feels like we're entering into peak chanterelle season. The awesome added bonus I'm realizing out of mushroom foraging is the nature therapy side of it. They've already brought this new kind of nature therapy course to Lithuania from Japan, and it's all about being conscious, breathing in, noticing smells, noticing how you feel while you're in quiet nature, and it's really healthy for the body. Forests like these that are planted in rows they're never good for mushroom hunting, at least none that I've seen. Everything is in a fixed ecosystem. There's very few new plants coming, and then all the old trees shade out and they don't fall. It makes for a very uniform area with only mushrooms like these sprouting out here and there. And this is what it looks like when you have these little alleyways of sun where there's no trees. You start to get variety. I'm pretty sure I'm lost. However, I found these mushrooms. I'm curious what these are. Identify this as well. And find road back. I am definitely lost, but this is just too beautiful not to stop for. So I left to see if there are any mushrooms on the other side of the bike path, opposite from where I found everything. And I ended up getting really lost. I found my way, but I found myself a lot further on a parallel path on the others, a few kilometers away. And then I tried to get back the same way, and I got lost again. And so I backtracked to the second spot, and I'm walking the long route back. Found my way back. I found what happens when you go in that direction. You walk through swamps and get lost in fields of nettle, and then you end up on the other side. Then you gotta get back. So here I cooked the mushrooms with buckwheat, some of these beans, got some chives to go on top. And a neighbor told me about a hunter, and she brought some deer, which this hunter preserved, and she said if I like it, I can get his contact and figure out how to get protein from him. Here I've got an elk steak. I'm curious how it will taste. Holy cow, this is delicious. Like if beef jerky were wet. Yesterday, after going foraging, I disconnected from the video and I made some progress on the construction, which I'm returning to now after another day of mushroom foraging. So, back to work. So yesterday's progress, I cleared all of these rocks that were here and I filled them in here, and I can see a significant amount of progress just in everything I raised here. So it looks like it's slowly withering, this hill. So in this past hour, I cleared some more of the rocks here, and I started throwing the rocks directly into the wheelbarrow because I realized I was wasting a lot of time separating the rocks once and then just as much time putting the rocks into the wheelbarrow so that I can drop it in. So here's about an hour's worth of progress, I say, with 2-3 other people over 3 hours. It could be almost done. And here's the progress on the experimental garden. Here are the suedes from Spain. I think I might even have some carrots. I'm not sure what this over here is. Oh, this is a weed. Got some summer savory, miner's lettuce. I'm pretty sure this is an amaranth. These are some beets I planted in the soil blocks. Some atomic red carrots. I don't know if this is my planted. Amaranth and nasturtiums. And this seems to be a cabbage or something. Also, out of all the cabbages I planted here, this is the only one that sprouted so far. The beans I planted around the apple tree are growing pretty well. Some of them are growing way up top there. I'm curious how I'm gonna get some of the beans to harvest. So it's interesting, they don't need full sunlight. They're getting very limited sun from over here in the angle, but they're still growing. I got a full meal's worth of beans from them. Today I'm leaving to an acro yoga festival, so I'm about to pack up, but before I go, my beans completely fell apart here, so I want to make a sturdier support. I've got some rope, or some string, and yeah, I want to fix this so that I can get some food out of this, because now it's not doing me any much good. Can't even harvest it, and I don't even know if it's really making any food. Okay, so I just raised the beans on a more stable trellis. Note to self to make a trellis next year before I even plant it. It would save a lot of time and I would get a lot more food out of it. Here's what it looks like from a distance. What a monster. So I just saved some suede seeds. These are either Suede Invitation or Suede Rora, or a mix. Here I've got a variety of mostly Spanish peas, but there's some pea rondos in here as well. Otherwise, here I cooked some lunch, which I'm bringing with me, and I'm getting ready to go. Besides rebuilding the bean structure, I tied up some things in the greenhouse. So here the broccolis are growing very large. So I'm tying them up so that the things below them can grow. So the things like the chamomile are sprouting, and the hyssop and oregano are growing better. Hopefully things don't dry out. I hear there's supposed to be rain tomorrow. And yeah, time to leave this place. It's this time of year